space, there is empowerment on both sides, and it's been really helpful for people who try modelling to also try drawing to understand the whole mechanism, because a lot of people who haven't done life drawing before don't really know what it's about, so it's really good to look at people and try drawing, and it gets you past thinking just this is a naked person, but it's a really difficult task trying to capture someone technically, anatomically, as well as capturing some sort of essence, if you possibly can, in the short time available. That is usually the case in a life drawing session.
So, in terms of, can you talk a little bit more about the empowerment that comes with the result of taking part?
Sure. So, we invite people to try modelling who probably wouldn't ordinarily be models. It might not be available to them. And it's a way to try in a safe space where you don't have the pressures of what it's like as a professional job, where you have to change pose, like instantly, and get over the fact that half your body is cramped and paralysed. So yes, it's a safe space, and people model together, so there's this kind of solidarity of modelling in a group, and that can be very scary because we know that people are judging us by looking at the group and comparing different bodies together, but actually very quickly people get over that and they start to see this group of different bodies, different people, and there is beauty in all of them, and there is beauty in the fact that they are all different, and that is really magical.
You mentioned about the security of the environment, the safety of the environment. Is there something different about an artist's gaze that might be different from the mainstream media's gaze or the everyday person's gaze that makes that secure environment?
It is a special space. The artist space is not devoid of mainstream tendencies in the gaze. That's still present, and sometimes more than others. However, artists are looking with in a different way. There's a training a lot of the time in anatomy, and they see the nude as a challenge, and with a fascination that is different to the everyday person who's been conditioned to just think that naked equals sexual. So yeah, it is different, but it's not completely separate. That would be impossible.
Now, I know that you have an interesting relationship with social media in terms of being very careful about the kind of imagery you will promote, the kind of imagery you don't promote in specific. Would you mind talking a little bit more about your relationship with your practice and Spirited Body, which is the organisation that you create, and how they relate to it?
Yeah, well, we've been around doing Spirited Bodies here with the co-founders, in fact, and several of the models who've been involved. And we've been doing it, in the time that social media has changed the way life drawing works and the whole world works. So in the beginning, it was a really wonderful way to reach people, and we couldn't have done it without social media. But now we've seen how social media has affected life drawing and encouraged a certain direction that is a bit more sexed up. But that's not the only story. So, as a model, I'm really careful about what I put out there about myself, and that has changed over the years. In the beginning it was enjoying that exposure and sharing beautiful artworks, but then I realised through seeing other people out there and feeling uncomfortable myself with seeing certain models very promoted and over-promoted, and certain types of bodies and the poses that was, and how that made me feel, I realised that what other people would see when they saw me. So I wanted to limit what I put out there about myself. And but you know, as a model, there are so many images of one out there anyway. But I just became more mindful about what I was putting out there. But in terms of spirited bodies, that is different. That we do want to share the drawings that happen, and it's not. We don't do so many photographs of spirited bodies because that would put a lot of people off. There have been events with photos because it really helps to show, you know, even more people what's going on. But mainly it's just drawings, and that is a positive thing to put out there.
Yeah. And I'm assuming what you're saying that maybe there are some participants who take part in your sessions as well in the audience.
Yes.
And maybe we can hear some things from them in a little while. Esther also, having had an email dialogue with her over the last few months, writes beautifully, poignantly about exactly what she means, and is very, very concise and very informed about how to do something. What sort of feedback you get from the people that are participating in it?
Oh, it's amazing. So I did a swimwear photo shoot, which we launched in March this year, and recently going along the beaches, Brighton, Margate, and so on. And I'm inviting people to come out, people that look every type of body, to come out and join me in bikinis, and we're taking lots of photos, and it's absolutely, it's brilliant. Everyone is supporting what I'm doing because everyone believes that at the moment, online, especially on social media, there are these so-called perfect bodies, and we don't really want young people looking at that thinking that's the ideal body, that's how we should look. Although we should embrace all bodies up. You know, I don't believe in anyone attacking someone else because they've got that so-called perfect body. It's not right. I don't believe that because we all have something, you know, we all look at ourselves and think, I don't like this about me. So it's important we, you know, include everyone in society. And yeah, the feedback is brilliant. It really is good. Everyone's enjoying themselves and thinks that it's a great thing. Something that I've come across along my journey in the 2 years is that a lot of these people that I talk to, the people with differences, they tend to not feel like they're needed or wanted in society. And I think one of the things with this, especially with art, is that if they are included in art and somebody approaches them and says, actually I'd like to paint you, and I'm sure Henrietta might agree with me on this, they will be so forward-coming, won't they, to have a painting or to have a picture drawn of them, because they've never felt that. They've never felt. Do you understand what I mean, Henrietta?
I think you're explaining it really well. I think often people feel discounted or kind of excluded, and so the fact that, you know, they're able to be involved and, you know, their story, their experience is kind of valued, and so, you know, we see lots of people who struggle with self-confidence and anxiety because of their exclusion, and so the fact that, you know, people are interested and the focus will be on them gives them an opportunity to show who they are as individuals, because even the shyest, quietest people still have really interesting ones. So it's about making people feel comfortable and confident.
And it really does. I really have seen people's confidence come out and just grow. And if you follow me on like this figure, you will see people that have just changed and their life has changed literally overnight. And I'm not making that up. That is the honest truth. So it does really help.
Yeah, it relates a lot to what I see with the people who come through spirited bodies, and some of them just model once or twice, and that is enough to it's a watershed moment. But some of them, they realise that they never thought of it, but then they realise that they want to pursue this and become a professional model, and it really takes off for them. And I've seen people who never thought they would have become a model, and they've taken the scene by storm, and they've gone out there, grown with confidence, and brought some very different personalities into the scene as well. People who, figurative art just wasn't part of their world before.
Yes, okay. I've got a question over here, so I'll run around with roving mic. Hello, what's your name?
My name is Lucy Saunders. I'm experienced life model. I'm one of the co-founders of Spirit Bodies. I'd like to talk about two women who came to an event we did at Battersea Art Centre several years ago. One was in her 20s, the other was in her 70s. Both of them had come because they had scars. The 70-year-old because she had scars from operations, and I don't know why the young woman had scars, but she had a scar on her arm that made her feel that there was no way she could reveal herself to the world. She started off in the all-female room. We had a mixed room, our 70-year-old started in the mixed room. Before the end of the day, by halfway, the young woman had joined everybody in the mixed group. She was fine about it, and both of them, found it incredibly fabulous to go around and look at the drawings of them and to see that they were more than their scars, that they had been truly of service to the artists involved. Me personally, I couldn't see the scars myself, but for them, the scars in their mind were enormous, and that would be all that anybody would ever see of them when they looked at them. And seeing that the artist eye had a different view of them was really helpful and helped them build their confidence.
Hello, what's your name?
My name's Marinella, and I'm another one of the life models in the room today. And what I would like to say, and I'm finding all this really fascinating and really inspiring, what I would like to add to the things that we've said about bodies so far is that there are also lots of in-between bodies around. There are bodies that are not disfigured, that are not very large, for example, but are also not young and slim and smooth or very muscular. And most people actually have a body like that. I think most people in the room can relate to what I've just said in the way that they look at their bodies. And there are also lots of people walking around who have survived eating disorders, or maybe still have an eating disorder. Actually, most eating disorders don't necessarily show to the world. So I find it really interesting to look at life drawing in this context. Like for me, it's how I've been surviving for about 10 years, and it's how I make money. But I am also somebody who's always had an in-between body. And I'm somebody who survived eating disorders. So in the context of work and all the amazing conversations that I have with my modelling colleagues, I've had a chance to put a lot of this into perspective to an extent, because when you're a life model, and I think particularly when you're female and you're modelling, you're often just answering jobs and bidding for jobs. And there are descriptions for particular bodies that the people in that school or that group are looking for that particular session. So I realised that I would never bother applying for a job that requires a female model who's young, slim, smooth, or athletic, or looks like a dancer. I don't bother. But I also never click on ads for plus-size models, because I'm not a plus-size woman, and I never will be. And so it's really interesting that when we talk about body diversity and the visibility of body diversity, we still very much talk about extremes. We don't look at all the in-between things and how it can be, one, it can be absolutely normal to show any kind of body, but also it can be quite subversive to show a body, particularly perhaps a female body, I don't know, that doesn't fit into any category. And that is actually the point. It's about non-categorizing bodies. And one last thing that I'd like to say that other people might like to pick up on is that in a conversation that we've had online, like a number of life models, as we were kind of preparing to come to this event, we started talking about body equality as opposed to body positivity. And we found that to be much more workable and much more empowering. And it would be nice to hear what other people think about that generally and in the context of what we're talking about.
To understand about how important it is to have diversity, and really, really important, especially in this time, and especially with larger groups who are very influential. You can't underestimate that. You know, this is 2018 and we've got to tackle the male gaze, and often people aren't aware of how much they're affected by it, and that can include all of us. So it's about raising awareness of that so that people can make more empowered choices and look a bit more carefully when they're choosing their models. And, you know.
Question from over here. Perhaps we've got time for maybe one more after. What's your name?
My name's Alina, and I work with various life models, both as a practitioner and someone who coordinates classes. And I think that's a really important point that Esther just raised. I've been in various different contexts, in various different countries, being part of groups where I've actually raised questions about the models that who've been booked. And very often the response is quite hostile. So it's very interesting that when you actually are a voice within a group and you start saying, wouldn't it be interesting to not have so many young women? That it is also a stereotype, and it's the idea of the male gaze. And I think that it's also the responsibility of the practitioners to realise that they have a gaze, and that as a practitioner you're not neutral. And whether you engage directly with issues of disfigurement or not, you have a gaze that you're imposing. And I think that it is really important that large groups who have a lot of repercussion are aware of that. And the second thing that I just wanted to say actually came up in your introduction was, it's a slight tangential point, but it's related. I've exchanged a number of emails with Windsor and Newton about their flesh tint. One of the responses that I got back from them was that they found that artists tend to be quite reticent towards change or something like that, which was very interesting as a response. But these it's that idea, again, of implicit bias and the notions of things that permeate everybody, and it actually is a responsibilization on everyone's part.
For those of you who know the Esther Club, we meet here about once a week throughout the year, and there are 4 models, sometimes more. So we have a 15-minute pose, a half-an-hour pose, a light drawing pose, and a portrait which is clothed. And there are, as you can see from the drawings around here, a variety of models that you have. There are the young women, there are men, there's one I did of my daughter where she's with a young friend, in their 20s, and then there's others where they're at retirement age. Even I have sat as a stand-in portrait. But what is interesting is that a lot of the people, when they're drawing someone who is not a standard model, are so pleased. Oh, it's so nice to have someone different. And I think that's really important. We have people from different cultures, different skin colours. We have very energetic models, very peaceful models. And yet, everybody drawing them will do a different image. You can usually see it's the same model, but one of the joys is seeing the camaraderie between the different models during coffee break. Everyone seems to know each other, or a great deal. But also also that the people coming to draw, they really enjoy having this range. And that, I think, is really